Hi everyone, this is Pastor Dan from Calvary Chapel, Cle Elum in Washington. With the national elections fast approaching, I wanted to add a few thoughts to the video that I did back in August called The Christian's Involvement in Politics. In that video, I made a case not only for the Christian to take part in the political process by exercising the right to vote, but also to be involved in speaking out about issues that biblical faith addresses and attempting to influence those around us concerning these important issues. I cited several passages from the Bible to support these ideas. Matthew 5, verses 13 to 16 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Matthew 12:35 says, "A good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, and an evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth evil things." And then James 4:17 says, "Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin." And then finally, we talked about 1 Peter 2:15 to 16, "For this is the will of God, that by doing good you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God." Do we really live as free men and women when we don't exercise our right to vote and when we don't attempt to influence others for the good? And when we don't expose those things that are clearly called evil in the Bible? And when I say we need to expose evil, I don't mean that we need to resort to evil means in exposing evil. That seems self-evident, and yet people on both sides of the issues sometimes do this. I think it should be possible to talk about controversial issues with those on the opposite side without becoming mean-spirited and engaging in bully tactics, name-calling, and physical provocation. I think we can and should be kind and considerate while at the same time disagreeing without being mean. It seems that both right-wing and left-wing extremists complain about others forcing unwanted views on them, while at the same time they do the very same thing to their opponents, often using violence and intimidation to accomplish their goals. This, in and of itself, is an evil that reasonable people on all sides of an issue should be quick to condemn. Having said that, we must acknowledge that there is sharp disagreement on almost every major issue in this upcoming election. Democrats and Republicans are at opposite ends of virtually every major issue. I would like to address two of those issues that directly relate to biblical values. The first one is abortion. Never have the differences between pro-lifers and pro-choicers been more extreme. When the pro-choicers first started promoting their positions, they claimed that they wanted abortion to be safe and legal, but at the same time extremely rare. In the last few years, they've completely dropped the extremely rare position in favor of wanting abortion to be available as an option, no matter what the reason, right up until the moment of birth. They are now willing to kill a completely formed baby while this beautiful baby is coming down the birth canal. And if the baby happens to survive the attempt to kill it while it's being born, they think it's perfectly okay to just let it die without giving it any help whatsoever. It's hard to imagine how anyone could see this as anything other than negligent homicide or premeditated murder. And it's clear that the Democratic Party is the party of completely unrestricted abortion. Based on recent laws passed in democratically controlled jurisdictions around the country, it's clear the extreme view I just spoke of a moment ago is what they mean by unrestricted abortion. They view any attempt at restricting abortion for any reason as a violation of their extreme pro-abortion intentions. And they disguise these views by calling them women's health care. At the same time, they don't want to pass any laws that force abortion provider facilities to abide by the same standards of cleanliness, hygiene, and readiness to deal with emergencies that are required of any other healthcare provider. How can they be for giving women access to quality health care when they won't require abortion providers to follow standard practices in making sure their facilities are sanitized in the most basic ways? The truth is, abortion has little to do with health care and everything to do with getting rid of an unwanted, inconvenient baby human being. I realize not all Democrats are for these extreme views and practices, but the party platform is definitely for unrestricted abortion. Not only that, they want all taxpayers to pay for these abortions by repealing the Hyde Amendment, which prohibits taxpayer funding of abortion. Another big issue in the upcoming election is about religious liberty. Though the Democratic Party platform claims to be for the free exercise of religion, they refuse to allow religious exemptions to anyone who doesn't want to abide by their policies because of their sincerely held religious beliefs. When the left was first pushing for the legalization of gay marriage, they insisted they would not require people, including business owners, with biblical convictions to submit to their views or force their views on these religiously and biblically minded people. But that has all changed since the legalization of gay marriage. Christian business owners in the various aspects of the marriage business are now being forced to participate in gay marriage ceremonies and celebrations by providing their services, whether they want to or not, under pain of fine, imprisonment, and loss of their business. Christian organizations such as schools and social service ministries are being told they must hire people who don't abide by their standards of behavior or their statements of faith. Christian adoption agencies are being told they must be willing to place children with gay couples if they want to stay in business. Christian doctors and nurses are being told they must participate in abortions and sex change operations if they want to continue practicing medicine. Religious freedom restoration acts across the country, which protect religious workers from this kind of harassment, are being challenged. Democrats are vowing to restore the individual mandate to Obamacare so they can force religious organizations to pay for abortions like they did with the Little Sisters of the Poor and the Christian-owned business Hobby Lobby. Christians who express their views on these matters in privately published materials, on personal websites, on personal social media pages, and with financial or volunteer contributions to causes that agree with their views are being fired from their jobs, bullied and ostracized by their peers, confronted in stores and restaurants, and protested and intimidated outside their homes. Folks, these are all biblical issues, and they are all at stake in this upcoming election. We can have a say in how these issues are decided in our country. We have the opportunity to elect people to office who support biblical issues of morality, decency, and fairness. We have the opportunity to be salt and light, and we have the opportunity to be the good person who out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth good things, as Jesus said. We have the opportunity, since we know what the good is, to do the good, as James said. And we have the opportunity to live as people who are free, not using our freedom as a cover-up for evil, but living as servants of God, as Peter said. My hope is that we will all do this as we vote these biblical values in this upcoming election. Every vote counts, And when we all band together, as it's been shown many, many times, we can make a difference in saving defenseless lives and preserving religious freedom. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, would you give it a like and a comment and maybe share it on your own Facebook page so that others might benefit as well? And if you don't have a home church and you live in the Cle Elum, Washington area, consider this an invite to our church at 10 a.m. Sunday morning, 417 East Railroad Street in Cle Elum. Again, this is Pastor Dan with Calvary Chapel in Cle Elum, Washington. May the Lord richly bless each and every one of you, even if you disagree with me.